The other day I had a flat on my barely used MOTUL M7 motorcycle tire, and I thought I was well prepared for such commonplace everyday emergencies by carrying a can of expanding latex foam with me made by MOTUL, clearly made or meant to be used for both motorcycle and automotive applications for small puncture type repairs. So not for a 6-inch long gash in the sidewall of the tire, no, small punctures commonly caused by screws, nails, staples and such, so small holes. Unfortunately, this product failed on me, and as a result it took me hours. I was being stranded at the roadside in the middle of nowhere. I had to wait hours for a pickup truck or somebody to come and help me and take me to a motorcycle dealer. Eventually, hours later, I did make it to a dealer, and a temporary fiber plug was placed into the puncture in the tire. Temporary repair. With this one, it should have taken me 10 minutes. No tools and a simple affair. No, it took me hours being wasted to get this done. Then the tire got inflated and I could be on my way. So, in this video, I'll tell you exactly what failed in this product, how this happened, and what you can do to prevent being stranded at the roadside, wasting hours of your life for nonsense that's easily preventable with just a few moves. So, in order to understand the prevention, I need to show you how this product works as intended. Let's take a look at the instructions here, just the pictograms. 1. Remove the foreign object. The reason for it is because this is a latex liquid foam, as it is pressurized in the can. So liquids it's not going to fill the whole inside of the tire, but should be puddling in it initially into one spot. And of course, when you get going with it, you should get going with it while it's still liquid, so that as in a centrifuge, the liquid puddle is being spread all around the inside of the tire and is being forced into the small cracks or crevices or puncture holes that are in the tire. So the liquid needs to find those puncture holes. That's why it starts with remove the foreign object. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And then you have to apply the product, you have to rotate the valve up to 12 o'clock position there, shake the product up, and that's kind of how it sounds like, because the can is pretty much still full with almost all 211 grams of the product still in it, or whatever is fluid ounces. So shake up the product and turn the can upside down and apply it, fill it into the inside of the tire, and then tick-tock, sometime later you're good to go. What the full instructions in words tell you at this point is that this liquid product being filled into the tire, it solidifies, but to solidify for the product it takes about 15 minutes, of course depending on temperature. It does work in freezing weather. I did try it in November in freezing conditions. It works, maybe not in 15 minutes, but the liquid does solidify and transitions to a solid. But when it transitions to a solid, the liquid should be inside the puncture hole already. I hope that makes sense. It should be setting and curing there in place, sealing the hole. Okay, so for this to work, it should be a liquid. It should be, the motorcycle should be driven or ridden at moderate speed, 50 kilometers an hour, some such thing. It does say so in the written version of the instructions. And then when it sets as a solid, the product is gummy or flexible. It's able to take the cornering forces and is able to move with the tire without breaking the seal. It's an airtight, although temporary, fix of a puncture hole. So, what failed in this product is not the product itself in this case. I've been using the product for a number of years and it works fantastically well. It even works on repeated puncture holes, such as caused by short nails and staples and screws. If it's long, it's not going to work. The reason for it is that the solidified latex film or membrane here acts as a skin, and if the short object doesn't pierce that skin, the seal is not going to be broken. It's gonna still work. I hope that makes sense. The nail point or staple point is able to go through the tire, but it's going to lift that membrane up without the membrane being punctured. And when you pull the nail or screw out, it's going to snap back in place. It's still going to be intact and sealing. So it works, and it works on repeated puncture or subsequent puncture holes as well. So what failed? It's not the product that failed, the can failed. Let me show you what exactly failed on the can. And it's such an easily preventable thing that can save you hours instead of going mad trying to figure it out on the roadside what went wrong. It's very, very simple. It takes about 30 seconds of your effort. So what you do with a can, you see this can has one missing part. It's been cut away, this nozzle. This nozzle is the faulty component here. I had to cut it away in order to clean the rest of the hose. So what happened was that this nozzle came clogged up from some debris from the factory. That's how it was sold. I just threw it in the backpack, whatever, and when the liquid foam was traveling through it and through the hose, it stopped at the nozzle right here. It wasn't being transferred to the inside of the tire, and that's why it's still in the can. Yeah, almost all of it, basically. So the product is still fine, and I'm going to use it at a later. I don't want to use it at a later date, but I can. I'm going to fix it. Very simple. I'll show you how. So this small nozzle looks like this in a close-up. It's got a threaded surface on it. It threads onto the Schrader valve, of course, with which you are very familiar because you maintain your tire pressure meticulously at the recommended 42 psi or whatever your manufacturer recommends. So these two go together and they thread together, so the liquid foam transfer is seamless or is not being spilled out here. There is a gasket on the inside. That black is a gasket that provides a very nice airtight seal, so the liquid transfer is done this way. The center feature of this nozzle here compresses the pin on this Schrader valve, and it's an important little metal chunk there in the middle. So where the clog was in mind, maybe I can turn it around and you can see through it. If I hold it right, you might be able to see through the middle of this fitting there, a tiny hole in the middle is where that's space, physical space for the liquid foam to go through the nozzle. Now, what you can do to save hours of your valuable time and concentrate on riding instead of fixing, before you take the product anywhere, just make sure with a needle, a pin, a safety needle or something, that it's not clogged right next to the center pin and on the inside of this gasket. I hope that makes sense, and you can see the needle point here on the other end coming through this nozzle. And of course this should not be cut away, they should be together. When they are together, you can still see in good light, like now, the needle going through this fitting there. Do it on both sides of this center pin so that it's this way. It's physically, any possible clog here needs a little wiggling, is physically removed and is eliminated, thereby being certain that there is physical space for the foam to move through. Now, physical removal is good stuff. This is approach one. There's one tiny problem with it, or possible problem with it. If there's anything in the nozzle that's clogging it, it's being moved into the hose. Not ideal. You could just take the cap off and shake it out at the other end, but if you don't want to do it, what's a B plan here is ensuring that there's actual flow throughout this whole hose. For that you need a flat tipped screwdriver like this, and don't bust your thumbnail with this one, but needs just a little prying and a little lifting here at the rim. Don't press on the middle of the can because foam is gonna come out from the middle, but if it does so, it's not a tragic event. So this should also be free and clear of all obstructions. So while the nozzle is still intact and it's still together, what you can do is this little tape with some compressed air. Make sure there's actual flow through the whole thing, including the nozzle. So just look at airflow with the little tape there. That's how it looks like when it's actually clear. This way the direction of clearing this blockage, if there's any, it's gonna go in the correct direction. You might use a combination of both. You might need to loosen something up in it and then blow it out. So that's up to your discretion. Just be observant about this thing. So knowing what to do, and the explanation, I know it takes a little bit of time, but getting it done is actually like half a minute. So that's what you can do to save yourself hours, instead of being stranded on the roadside, being puzzled, what's not going on, why is it not filling, why is the tire not inflating? Because the propellant inside the can, besides the liquid foam, the propellant inflates the motorcycle tire. And in case of a 17-inch motorcycle tire with my size of tire, whatever size that is on my Kawasaki Ninja ZX6, it takes it up to 42 psi just right, so it doesn't need to adjust any pressure and it's good to go. So that's fairly straightforward, I hope. And in terms of repair options, what I'm going to do with this small hose clamp, of course, is cut away some of the crimping here on the outside of the nozzle, remove this hose material, which is really thick and good quality, nice hose, save the inside of the fitting, which is now somewhat corroded by the, or oxidized by the latex foam, and reinsert it on the rest of the hose here, like so. Put on the hose clamp, ta-da, it's good to go. Or I could take the top off a new can, an intact one, take the top off and just use it twice and wash it. If I wash it, this liquid latex foam can be washed out from it and can be used twice. That's also an option. So take a look at these. Not necessarily just this product, but any brand that's being sold with a liquid foam that has this kind of distribution hose to it with a nozzle. The same can happen to other manufacturers as well, or can pick up a little bit of dirt from your backpack or wherever you place this thing, because it doesn't come with a protective cap. So do this, clean it, because the pressurized propellant inside is not enough pressure to clear the blockage or the clog. So do this and save yourself hours of misery and inconvenience. So thank you very much for watching. You take care and have fun riding out there.